Hi, I'm Phyllis Harmon. I'm a member of TV Toastmasters. In this club, we have an opportunity to practice speaking before the camera as well as running the equipment room. If you're interested in being interviewed on TV Toastmasters or becoming a member, please go to toastmasters.org and look for us, or simply search for TV Toastmasters on the web.
Welcome back to TV Toastmasters. I'm Erik Bergman, and it's my special treat tonight to introduce you to a very fun, entertaining Toastmaster, Stephanie Snow. Stephanie is a coordinator with a group that arranges international homestays in the United States for international exchange students. And she's here to talk about that and the benefits that it's brought to her and her family. Stephanie Snow, welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you for being here. And I want to start by saying you stand out as somebody who really likes teenagers and can't get enough of teenagers around the house. What was it like when you came home and announced to your family that you wanted to be a host for a foreign exchange student?
Well, the reviews were mixed. We were all a little bit apprehensive and maybe a little skeptical, some of us, because we didn't know exactly what that would mean to our life and to our family dynamics, what it would mean to bring home someone from not only another family, but another country. Mm-hmm. But the more we got into the process and applied, and we got to select our student, the more we got to know him through pictures and emails, we got more excited. And then the day finally came, and we got to meet him at the airport and brought him home. And within about 3 days, he was part of our family. And we were all hooked by then, and it wasn't really hard to talk people into doing it again and again and again.
Now, you went through a group called the Council for Educational Travel, USA, and that group arranges these homestays, and you became a coordinator for it too, and you recruit and get more families to join. Now, say if someone says, "Oh, I don't think I could let a stranger into my house," what would you say to that?
That's one of my favorite questions, or one of my favorite statements, I guess, to debunk, because they're only stranger for a day. You bring home someone you don't know, you walk them through your house, you let them unpack their things into your drawers and give them a bed, you feed them, they sleep off their jet lag, and you take them out to do some fun activities and they become a friend. And a few days later, they're helping do chores around the house, they're watching TV with you, they're doing all the things your family does, and they become part of your family. So they're only a stranger for a really small period of time.
Great. Now, you've been doing this for how long?
We hosted our first student in the summer of 2013, and we've been doing it ever since. We've hosted at least one student every year since then, sometimes more.
Great. So about a dozen students over 5 years or so, about right?
Yep, that's exactly right. We're on number 12 right now.
And where have these students come from?
All across the world. We have hosted students from some Asian countries, China, Japan, South Korea. We've hosted students from Spain and France, and currently we're hosting a student from Denmark.
That's really quite a wide variety of cultures and languages and perhaps worldviews. You must come across some difficulties of understanding, whether it's language or customs, that maybe cause a little bit of laughter at the time. What's it like, and how do you deal with those little hiccups or bumps in the road as you adjust to them and they adjust to you across language and culture barriers?
Definitely never a dull moment when you're meshing two cultures under one roof. There are always things that make us laugh and smile and let us do some interesting and creative communication. Communication is something that you learn comes in many forms other than words. We've drawn pictures, we've done charades and made lots of gestures to make sure we understand one another. Food is also a really interesting and fun thing to experience with people from different cultures. Not only the food that we eat, but how we eat. The first time we had South Korean students in our home, we didn't know that they eat family style, as in one big bowl and we all eat from the same bowl. And my children saw that they were doing that and wondered why they weren't getting in trouble, because that's not how we eat at our house. But that's just a cultural norm for them. So we had to teach them in America, actually you take your own portion and put it on your own plate, and then you eat from your own plate. So that was an interesting thing. We've also decided that peanut butter and root beer are very American tastes. We've had all of our exchange students try them. No one has really wanted to repeat trying them. So that's kind of a funny thing to experience as well.
Right, we might think that other countries have those funny foods that we wouldn't dare try because they're too weird. But peanut butter, that's,
right.
If you haven't seen it before, that could be weird. Now, what do you think your family has gained from having the exposure to people coming from great distances and really getting to know you in your own home and attending school locally too?
My family has gained a lot of benefits from this. I think the first one is fun and expanding our life and our world and just enriching the life that we get to experience, bringing in different cultures, as you say, different modes of thinking, and lots of different fun activities, the way they celebrate holidays or different holidays that they celebrate that we might not. And it's just really fun to get a broader view of the world and the people in it, and also for all the differences to notice how similar we all are, really, when it comes down to it. This Christmas, I'm looking forward to putting my Christmas tree in the middle of the room so we can walk and dance around it on Christmas morning, because that's what they do in Denmark. So I'm excited to add that to our Christmas traditions.
You mentioned something in preparing for this interview tonight about how sometimes even the most basic, simple thing taking place in an American house might be different and unusual and something that this student has never seen before, and they often get into it, such as baking or baking cookies. Or what's it like to take one of those simple activities and kind of see it through the eyes of somebody to whom it's brand new?
It really is fun, and it makes it more exciting to us. We go, wow, that is really a fun thing that we just think of as kind of a boring or mundane kind of thing. And like you said, cooking and baking, especially in Asian countries, many of the people don't have ovens in their own home. If they want a baked good, they have to go buy it at a bakery. So for them to be able to participate in the process of making the cookies and mixing them in the mixer and baking them in the oven and eating them warm, and they think that's the most fascinating thing. And sometimes my kids think something like that is a chore. So it's really fun.
Right, so it gives you a new appreciation of things that you otherwise take for granted.
For sure.
Let's talk a little bit about your group, the Council for Educational Travel USA, and tell us about your role as a local coordinator. What do you do?
Well, as a local coordinator, I recruit host families for the exchange students, and I help match up students to families. We use things such as their interests, personalities, family dynamics, and home situation. Also, sometimes you got to take into consideration someone might have an allergy or another physical situation they need a specific home for. So I help coordinate those things. Also keep relationships going with the high schools so we can place those students for a place to study while they're here. And then I also support the families and students throughout the year with home visits and activities to get them socialized and doing things fun around in the community.
And you're always looking for more host families, I would bet.
Absolutely.
Great, great. Now, what are the financial arrangements? How does this work? What do the students bring with them, and what do they provide versus what the host family provides?
Okay. So the students come with their own health insurance, and they come also with an account that's set up, and then money is put into it every month for any needs they have, school supplies or extracurricular activities, any personal needs they might have. And the host family needs to provide a bed. They don't necessarily have to have their own bedroom. They can share with someone of the same sex if they're within a few years of their age. And then providing 3 meals a day and transportation that like you would for your own child for extracurricular activities and things like that. And then just love and support that all teenagers need, especially ones who are half a world away from home.
Right. Have you had to deal with homesickness, and how did you work through that?
We have had a couple of students that were a little bit homesick, and I think the biggest thing to do to help that is just be communicative.
Yeah.
Just make sure they know we're there for them if they need a hug or if they need to talk about something, or some of them like to just be by themselves. So they've had too much English and they want to just go watch a program in their own language and have a few minutes of time to themselves, which is perfectly fine as well.
I know it's been so fun for me being a member of We Toasted Toastmasters with you for the past several years. How has your Toastmaster experience helped you communicate with these students and in your role as a coordinator?
Toastmasters has been a great help in my life in many roles of communicating. And while I haven't learned other languages in Toastmasters, it's helped me to be able to be creative. If I'm not getting my point across one way, let me try another avenue. And that works with anyone in whatever language, I think. And as a local coordinator, it's helped me to be able to make my points concisely and specifically to help people understand what will be expected of them, or also to emphasize the fun or the different features that they might be able to experience if they participate in this program.
Great. I really love hearing about the Council for Educational Travel USA, and I love its mission, which is to encourage a lifelong journey of peace and understanding. I think that's such a noble goal, and hosting someone from another country is such a great way to do it. Where can people find out more information?
So the website you can go to, if interested, is www.cetusa.org. People can also find me at my personal website, which is personal email, hostworldstudents@gmail.org, and I can answer any questions.
That's so great. Thank you for the work you do in bringing our nation and the world closer together through personal connections. And thank you out there for watching, and I hope you're back again for another episode of TV Toastmasters. This is Erik Bergman, wishing you farewell.
Hi everyone, my name is Bill Hernandez. I'm a DTM with the West Beaverton and Sporty Speakers Toastmasters clubs. I have over 40 years experience in the world of video production, and I would like to invite you to attend my breakout session, How to Present Your Best Self on Camera. You will learn valuable tips on how to present your best self on camera. You will also learn how to leverage these tips, whether you're into video blogging or webcasting. So join me and my friends and fellow DTMs and TV Toastmaster legends, Phyllis Harmon and Dottie Love, at the District 7 Spring Conference, April 27th at Camp Withacom in Clackamas. For more information, go to the d7toastmasters.org website. Hope to see you there.
Welcome to TV Toastmasters. My name is Allison Bennett, and today we will be talking with Sullivan. She is a powerhouse woman who owns a business in a predominantly male-driven industry. We're going to be talking to her about what that is like and also what it's like to transition. And we welcome you tonight, and I welcome you, Echo, so glad to have you here. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Allison. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. So
grateful to be here. Yeah.
Tell me about your company.
So my company works with all kinds of different industries, all kinds of different professionals in the STEM fields.
So STEM, is that like the bottom part of a plant? Or is so when you say STEM, some of us know what it means, but what do you mean by STEM?
It would be science, tech, engineering, and mathematics.
Okay, so what kind of people are that? Is that like the quantum physicists, or what does that entail?
Quantum physicists, engineers, scientists in other realms, mathematicians, information technology professionals, people in careers related to how technology works or developing and driving technology.
So how did you get into that field, first of all?
I fell into it many, many, many years ago. Over 20 years ago, I fell into the recruiting field and ended up just completely falling in love with it and started my career and then started a business and grew it to be a multi-million-dollar business. And we service a variety of different industries, from medical device to companies that develop software, companies that develop hardware, and then all kinds of scientific related research.
So I know you as a pretty funny person. So how can you be in that type of a field and still like be funny and have a great outlook on life and not get like pulled down into the drudgery of it all?
Well, I think that humor should be something that infiltrates all span of life. So it doesn't matter what it is. It could be even something kind of serious. You can bring a lighthearted, airy space to that. Yeah, life gets serious at times, but in this specific space, there are all kinds of things happening that are important innovations, and it can be just kind of treacherous and where people just dig down in. Although there is another side of that, and it's the human component. And human beings are, although they're predictable, they're predictably unpredictable.
Right.
So
how do you deal with maybe capturing and maintaining attention? For instance, like you've got an early Monday morning annual meeting to go over the finances. And you know that you need to capture people's attention so that they are on topic and on target, and they're not falling asleep. So what are some things that you do to really kind of engage people in the process?
So one of the things that I do is I do a pattern interrupt. A pattern interrupt is something that changes or breaks the pattern of behavior and makes it something else.
Oh, like squirrel? Hey, squirrel?
Yeah, hey, squirrel.
Okay.
Running along, hey, squirrel.
Right.
But it's just finding the humor in things. So for instance, in one of our annual meetings, and I'm leading the meeting, and I'm writing on a board, just welcoming people to be there, and then writing some of the things that are going to be happening outside of just the paper agendas or the agendas that people received on their computers. And I ended up writing something incorrectly. So some people could go into where they get all serious about that, and then some leaders could actually go in and start beating themselves up over not being perfect, because I am also a perfectionist. But instead, the break state would be turning that around and making it something that is lighthearted and that brings the human element back, that I'm still human, and then brings it. So it's a situation where you can change it and it livens people up. It makes them relax a little bit instead of being this staunch, stuffy type of meeting. It allows them to show that the human element is still there, and it doesn't have to be predictable. It could be unpredictable at times and still be successful.
Well, I think some people have a hard time enjoying other people. So some people have the point of view that, oh my gosh, it's people, they're dumb, they're not getting it. And then that makes it even more difficult on a team. So how do we change that so that we can go from, oh, maybe, somebody's not doing something correctly and it should be done that way, to actually enjoying the fact that something has gone awry?
Well, in that situation, and there are lots of situations like that when you're dealing with people in the STEM fields.
Right.
Because they have a lot of high degree of knowledge.
Right.
And they see one way or their way, or maybe the best way, best practices to do it. And if something, so we've had before where we had a team member on a team who was doing things a little bit different from what the norm would have been.
So a little bit different from what the norm would have been. I'm thinking that's called for. They're really messing up big time, right?
Well, the perception of the leader of the group was that he was a little off-put by the fact that it was not done as specifically his way.
Okay.
And yes, it could have been taken off into that direction and become a problem. Instead, it's looking at what are the contributions of that person on the team and how are those contributions affecting in a positive way what is happening. Because yes, there were certain things that were being done specifically one way. The work was still getting done.
Right.
In addition, the perspective that that person brought to the team was one which also changed people's outlooks.
There you go.
And allowed them to be think of things a little bit differently. So by coming from a different group out of another company and bringing that knowledge base in, and then the work style in, also helped shift some of the dynamics of the work group. And at first, what seemed uncomfortable,
Right.
and it was
Right.
very uncomfortable, became a winning situation for the team as a whole because that learning brought in a new way of learning, brought in just a kind of a breath of fresh air.
So I know one of the things we talk about a lot is not looking for a problem to solve, but actually to look for an opportunity or something goes not the way we expect, that we can look for an opportunity, for a different possibility.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you bring into your life everywhere you go. And speaking about possibilities, we're also talking about transitioning. So you've done this company for a couple of decades, and now you're looking at doing something different. Tell me about that.
So I'm ready to move out of the industry that I'm working in and with my company and transitioning into a whole new space, which is working with professionals and people also in the STEM field who want to maybe advance their careers or who are having some issues on a team or want to bring their communication skills up so that they can communicate better with their teams or advance their careers, and also managers and people in leadership becoming more effective in leadership, becoming better managers.
So how do you do that? So like, for instance, I know that we've done a couple of trainings together and we have asked some questions that people have answered and they've given conflicting, like their mouth is saying one thing, but their body language is saying something different. So how would you work with that?
So that brings up so many things, but I'll narrow it down a little bit.
That'd be great.
So yes, oftentimes body language is a big component of communicating. And body language is a big component of success, that could drive success.
Okay.
So for instance, building rapport.
Right.
There are some easy ways to build rapport, and it's being aware of yourself and the environment, what your body language is communicating, just like that. You kind of, by putting your hands forward, you're saying that I'm interested, I'm listening, and I'm present.
Okay.
And so you kind of changed what you were doing there.
Right.
And if I do the same thing, I'm mirroring and matching what you're doing, which helps build rapport with you, right? So people in the STEM field don't often know that our bodies are communicating with one another, what they're saying, and how to use that to be able to bridge a gap for communication, to better their communication. And so,
Exactly. Now, I know that one of the funny situations that we had in a class was, again, this woman, we'd asked this woman a question about what she wanted to do next in her career. And do you remember how that went? Tell me how that went.
So she had two opportunities present to her at that time. And as we started asking some questions around the opportunities, her body language started communicating which opportunity would probably be better without her even identifying it.
So what do you mean?
So what I mean by that is one opportunity, she was sitting there and she was sitting here like this saying, I'm so excited about doing this. And then the other opportunity, as we started talking to her, her body posture changed. She sat up straighter. She leaned forward, which says, I'm excited. And she was leaning toward the opportunity where her body language was telling her clearly, this is not the best opportunity for you because it's boring.
Right.
You're going to be bored out of your mind. And the other opportunity, which was exciting, maybe presented some additional challenges that she was a little bit nervous about. That was really the opportunity that presented itself as the one that she should have taken.
So I think one of the things that we try to help people understand is how to figure out their own personal clues in making decisions. So when we point out, okay, if you are feeling like you're going, well, this opportunity, I can stay at home and I can stay in my pajamas and all of that. And although that sounds like that's your goal, if you talk about a different opportunity where it's like, well, I have to go out and I have to learn some different things, you can actually feel the difference.
Yeah, you can feel it.
And that will help people make decisions. So is that one of the reasons is that something that helped you decide to move from a successful career into a brand new leadership training opportunity?
I think one of the things that helped me decide to move from this career was a variety of things. And yes, there is a forward momentum. There is a change within myself that I've identified that there's a level of excitement in doing something new. And it's also having prepared for this transition.
Fantastic. Well, it's been fantastic having you on. Thank you so much for listening to TV Toastmasters, and we'll see you again.